Okay, now that we've finished the acronym ADMONISH, we're going to move on to some other topics that are vital for us to have an understanding so that we can do the ministry with integrity, legally, and within our boundaries. Before we start, I want to give you the 10th word in your 14-word phrase, and that word is but. So the 10th word in your 14-word phrase is the word but. Let's get started. So they are not a counselor, they are not a therapist, and they are not a life coach. All three of these require extensive training, certifications, passing board exams. We need to be very aware of the lines that are in place for us to not cross as mentors. You know, there's this whole industry that kind of is under this umbrella of consulting, coaching, mentoring, trainer, teacher. And so it's key that we understand that our world is just right here as a mentor, and it falls under a very broad help field. And so I want you to hear when I share with you what author Gary Collins says in his book, Helping Others Turn Potential into Reality, Christian Coaching. That's the name of the book. But I want you to listen to what he says as he explains the difference between counseling, mentoring, and coaching. He says, counseling deals mostly with a person's past and trauma and seeking healing. Okay, so counseling and therapy are people that have something in their past and they go to the counselor or therapist to be able to process and work through that in order to move forward in their life. Okay, they need healing from that. Mentoring deals mostly with succession training and seeks to help someone in what the mentor does. So he's saying, as a mentor, really your job is to train someone to do like you do. Think about a trade, an apprentice. It's kind of that same concept that a mentor is really pouring into somebody so that they can replicate their life and their skills and their activities after what the mentor has already done. So the mentor then brings a sense of experience, a sense of wisdom, a sense of skilled trade to the relationship. And the mentee is the one that is trying to model their life after what the mentor is setting up or has explained their life to be. That's called succession training, passing on the baton, if you will. Coaching deals mostly with a person's present, like here and now, and seeks to guide them into the future in a more desirable way. So a life coach, or when we do life coaching, we are skilled to navigate the conversation such that the person coming to us tells us where they are, what they feel stuck in, and we help set the path. We help ask insightful questions so that they get from their stuck state to being unstuck, their desired goal or their desired outcome. Life coaches work with people that are working through transitions or wanting to get rid of bad habits, or maybe they're moving from one ministry to the next. So life coaches do a different role than what we have as a mentor. You as a mentor, again, the picture, side by side, you're walking with, you're encouraging with, you're mostly receiving information, you're not giving a lot of information. 75% of the time you're listening, you're actively listening, you're asking open-ended questions, and 25% of the time you're sharing, after asking, your experiences, what you've gone through. Okay, so we are not counselors. When it comes, you may enter a relationship where your mentee shares about maybe something's wrong in their marriage, or maybe there's an issue with their child, and you hear the conversation coming back and landing on that issue and landing on that topic again. That would be a red flag that maybe your mentee might be a better fit for counseling at this time rather than mentoring. We assume that someone entering the mentoring relationship is already kind of strong and standing on their feet. They just want to have somebody walking with them. They already know their skill set. They just want somebody to help them navigate the next step. They're not stuck. They're not deeply wounded. They're not hurt or bitter or angry. If you see those topics coming up, or the emotion behind conversation is heated or is elevated or is passionate or is heightened, those would be red flags that possibly something is happening, or there currently is a situation that is not within the mentoring framework that we deal with. Mentoring is the sounding board, if you will, of a relationship. But if a person is stuck or has deep wounds, you may have to hit the pause button on that relationship and welcome me into it so that we can evaluate and get that woman the best services. Remember, in your code of ethics that you will sign, it says you will always act in her best interest. That may mean that this relationship is not what's best for her currently. And it's helpful and it's necessary for you to have eyes to see when the situation is deeper, more heavily rooted into an issue that needs extensive training than what we are providing. Mentors, we are not providing therapy or counseling or answers to any problems, okay? So if you hear something that's coming up over and over again, you're going to have to send me an email, get me and Colleen on the same page, the administrative assistant, and say, actually, just reach out to me first before we get her involved. Reach out to me and say, this is what I'm hearing. Show me your interaction log. This is what was talked about. She brought it up here, here, and here. Like, I just think she might be needing more than what the mentorship role is supportive of and is set up to do. We want nothing more than the relationship to be a positive experience for both parties. And to put those boundaries in place, we need you to have eyes that understand when something is coming up that is not within our wheelhouse. Okay, we are not going to be counselors and counseling on issues that we don't know. We are not going to be therapists. We are not going to walk a woman through a deep wound that she really needs further exploration of, and guided, a person to help guide her journey on that, okay? So there are legal distinctions between counselors and therapists. There are legal distinctions among life coaches and what we can do in life coaching and what we cannot do. You are not in any of that realm. You are one step lower as a mentor. If at any point you feel like the issue is too deep, welcome me into it and we will navigate it together. The 11th word that I want to give you for your 14-word phrase is the word in.